In December 2013, our one and only shop in this village closed. 5 days later, the shop in the next nearest village closed. And as happens in villages, in the pub on a Friday, somebody said, "The shop's closed, what are you going to do about it?" Well, within a very short space of time, a bunch of us carried out a feasibility study, and we realised the best route to replace a shop in a village was down the community shop route.
When we found out the shop was closing, we were very disappointed. We lived in the village for a short period of time, probably around 6 months at that particular time. I had a very small baby at home, and yeah, it was very disappointing.
I think the nearest shop is the post office at Corby Glen, but it's in the wrong direction for going anywhere else. So you'd have to go to Corby Glen specifically to buy your milk.
We have had access to a number of case studies. So we've been able to see the best and the worst in how a community shop should operate. And two things stood out. One was, in a small village like this, people still need to use cars, albeit they'll reduce their mileage. So you need off-road parking. The second one really is that it acts as a community hub. And we realised very early on that having a cafe within the shop itself was a huge, huge benefit to the local community.
So when we first heard about the plans for the new shop, we were really excited. I am a business owner and I work from my bedroom, and so having that social element, that somewhere that I could then go to, especially when I heard there was going to be a small cafe in the shop as well, because it means I can go there, I can grab a coffee, I can meet people. If I want to, I can work and I can pick up a loaf of bread, and a pint of milk at the same time. Our
group has some mixed competencies, some very, very able people. We have an accountant, a builder, an architect on the team. A lot of business experience as well, although admittedly very limited in terms of a local shop. There is some very serious skill sets amongst our members.
Well, one of the best things about the facility that we're going to create up at the quarry is that it will be significantly larger than its predecessor. So there was a shop here 3 or 4 years ago that was operational. It's one of the reasons that my wife and I moved to the village, was that there was a good prospect of there being a shop again. I hadn't thought at the time I'd end up designing it, but there we are. So this shop at 1,500 square foot will probably be 4 times the size of the previous shop that was in the village. We've decided to make the shop a low carbon form of development, so the running costs will be low over its lifetime. So in order to do that, we'll be installing an air source heat pump facility that will provide all the hot water and heating, along with some solar panels on one aspect of the roof. So it will be a very low energy, low consumer of energy throughout its lifetime.
One of the attractions, though, of having a community shop is that it's actually owned and run by the members of the community. They also get to determine how the profits from the shop are used and volunteer to work in the shop, as well as alongside paid members of staff.
I think the fact, sort of looking at the community aspect of it, will bring the village together. Obviously there's going to be volunteers who will work in the shop on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. People will be able to sort of perhaps work somewhere in the village where they've not been able to work previously, because there's very little employment within the village itself, so that can only be a good thing for those people who perhaps can't get into town.
I love this village. There's so much going on and you can opt in or opt out. So if you don't want to do something, that's fine. But if you do want to get involved, there are loads of different clubs, activities, and I think the shop will just add to that, and it will also be a very good way of advertising various activities that are going on.
I was really keen to get involved once we moved into the village, so I am a parish councillor. I set up a small business hub. I actually chaired the Midsummer Festival Committee, so I'm really proud of that. Was the first year I'd done that this year. But just seeing the whole community come together and the way people work so hard. And of course the festival will generate money that will go on to be distributed not only to the shop but to the village hall and everything else. So just to be part of a community that works so hard together, it's the perfect place to be.